Okay guys, so today we're going to look at some of the problems that you are going to be expected to do on your packet. And I'm just going to go over 4 problems. I'm going to start with problem number 3 because problem number 3 was one of the problems that I did not work out with you today in class. So problem number 3 is n. N is the same thing as slope. Slope, which we also refer to as rate of change. And anytime we're looking at slope from a graph, and it's also the same thing as rise over run. And in order to figure out the rise and the run, we basically have to look at 2 points on our line. So I'm going to pick this point right here, and also this point right here. Now, just like you would read from left to right whenever you're reading a book, you read from left to right whenever you're looking at a line, whenever you're looking at your points. So, to go from the first point to the second point, I rise -2. In other words, I have to go down -2. And then to get to the second point, I have to run 1. And let me make that a little bit. I have to run 1. So my rise, I'm going down 2. And my run, I have to run 1. -2 divided by 1 is the same thing as -2. So the slope in this case is -2, which makes sense because if I'm looking at this line, I can see that it's going down. And automatically, I know that I'm looking at something with a negative slope. So my answer does make sense. I should have, my slope is -2. Okay, I'm going to look at let's do problem number 8. I'm given 2 points, and remember, you are welcome to use the equation, the formula that we looked at in class. But if you don't want to use that formula, that's fine. All you have to do is put your points on a table. So I'm going to create a table, x and y, and I'm going to begin by putting my points on that table. I have -5 and 6, and -1 and 8. To go from -5 to -1, I have to add 4. You can put that in the calculator if you don't see that right away. -5 plus 4 will give you -1. And in order to get to 8, I have to add 2 to 6. If you remember, rate of change, slope, is the same thing as a change in y over the change in x, or delta y over delta x. The change in y in this case is +2 over the change in x, which is +4. 2 over 4, you can either reduce this in your head or you can put in the calculator 2 divided by 4, convert that back into a fraction. 2 divided by 4 is the same thing as a half. So my slope in this case would happen to be 1/2. I wrote really big, but hopefully on your paper you write smaller. There is one problem, problem number 9, that is a bit different. In problem number 9, we're given 2 points. So we do start by making ourselves a table. We have x and y, and I'm given 1 and 9, as well as 1 and -7. So I'm going to begin by looking at the change in y over the change in y over the change in x. So to go from 1 to 1, I have to add 0 or subtract 0. To go from 9 to -7, I'm going to subtract. And in this case, I'm going to have to subtract 16. 9 minus 16 gives me -7. Now again, slope is the change in y over the change in x. And in this problem in particular, the change in y is negative 16, but the change in x is 0. And just to make this point very clear, anytime I'm dividing a number by 0, even if you put it in a calculator, you're always going to get an error. You cannot divide by 0. So this is not 0. This is the curse word in math, which is undefined. Which makes sense because if you try to put these points on a graph, 1 and 9, we're going to say there is that point. And 1 and negative 7 would be down here. So you can already see that if you connect those points, you're going to end up with a vertical line. And a vertical line, if you recall from class, is so steep that we cannot really put a number to it. Instead, we put a cursor to it, which is undefined. Okay, now the very last problem I'm going to go over is 16. In problem 16, we are looking at rate of change. We're looking at slope with the opposite line. And remember, it is a change in y over the change in x. To go from negative 4 to negative 1, I have to add 2. Negative 4 plus 2 gives me negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 gives me 0. 0 minus 1 will give me negative 1. Negative 1 minus 1 will give me negative 2. Okay? And if you don't see these numbers right away, then put it in your calculator. Try it out. 0 minus 1 should give you negative 1. Negative 1 minus 1 should give you negative 2. Once you have those changes, to find the rate of change, we would do the change in the y, which is negative 1, over the change in the x, which is positive 2. Again, you can put this in the calculator if you don't see this right away. But negative 1 divided by 2 gives you negative 0.5, which if we turn into a fraction is the same thing as negative a half. So my slope is negative a half. And now I am done. The only things you guys need to watch out for is make sure that you're not dividing by 0. You can, anytime you divide by 0, you get something that's undefined. And also make sure that you watch out for those 0 slopes.